Happy 4th of July and welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm Bob DeMarco. Coming up, we're going to take a look at, of course, the Pocket Check State of the Collection. We're going to look at some USA-made knives, some of my favorites out there. And then, of course, we're going to talk about the best USA-made knives. Now, got a lot of knives designed here in the States, made elsewhere. Tonight, I just have pulled out stuff that's made here 100%. And then I also have some other stuff out here. Like if you look over here on the knife cam, some very emblematic American implements, the tomahawk, this one by Brave Hawk Forge, and then this Bowie here, the very famous Western W49 Bowie, I think part of the Marine Raider Bowie line. I'm not exactly sure how that all works, but here you can see that S-shaped guard was pounded down by the previous owner, which took some doing for sure, and it looks like it brought that a little bit closer to the guy's knuckles, so that when he was fighting in the biker bar, his hands didn't get nastified. Now, to me, this was a biker's knife. The handle has been replaced by some anonymous kind of bone. Not sure what that is, but there it is. It's an all-American classic. Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day to you, one and all. What does that mean to you? You don't have to be too deep about it. To me, I just love that we live in a country where we can have these things and we can talk about them openly and collect them and, excuse me, and support people making these amazing knives. Speaking of amazing, oh, geez, almost lost one there. Speaking of amazing knives, I'm going to pull this one out, and I'm sure I'll bring it out again later. This is one my brother got me within the last year, and he got it at a Civil War show, Civil War memorabilia show. And this sucker is old. I think it's from the South. I think that blade shape really makes it from the South. Anything I've seen that looks similar to this with this type of S-shaped quillion and that kind of blade has been from the Confederate side of the Civil War, but I've never seen a swedge that extreme. This reminds me of the hardcore granddaddy of the off-grid Cayman, with that extreme swoop down to a very low point and nearly straight edge. So this thing is wicked. Have this thing out with me tonight just for, well, because it also is an American classic. I'll place it down gently on that right there and hope it doesn't fall and get my foot. Charlie, nice to have you here, sir. Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day, if you indeed are from the United States. If not, happy 4th of July. Anyway, it's the 4th of July wherever you are. Alan Costello, good to have you here, sir. Just going to slip it in. Gonna skip it. Everything. I hope some new big banger of a fixed blade, and lately, nope. At all. So wait, I'm sorry. Either you're not writing well or I'm not reading well. So I'm guessing it's the latter. Let me start this again, Alan. Just gonna skip it. Everything. I hope some new big banger of fixed blade, and lately, nope at all. So quit leaving reminders, premieres. Oh, guess will help if I unsubsidize. Duh, my bad. Not sure what you're saying there, Alan. But Alan Costello, I remember the name. You like the big fixed blades. You often complain when I show folders, but I'm a junkie, knife junkie. So that means I'm equal opportunity, man. Look, I got swords on the wall. I got knuckle dusters. I got folders. I've got fixed blades. I got razors. I've got pointy, stabby, pokey things. I got mace. I've got guns. So it's not just fixed blade junkie, but I do appreciate that you like the fixed blades, because I too, like you, my brother, love the fixed blades. But thanks for the message, and you don't have to unsubsidize me. I'm not sure you're subsidizing me at all, but if you are, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Have a Knife Day says, I do like my Medford Praetorian. I own one of those, and I have this K-Bar Tribute fixed. Oh, yes, you have his K-Bar. That thing is awesome. It's a full tang. What do you want to say? Full tang approximation of the K-bar. Looks a lot like the K-bar, but obviously a lot beefier. A, coming from Medford, and B being a full tang. That's cool. And the Praetorian is cool. He's going away from that. He's not even making the Praetorian anymore. And he says, I've been wearing my Bravo 5 from Stroop quite a bit lately. That was a sweet knife. I checked out Have a Knife Days, which, by the way, I was wearing your shirt earlier today, but I checked out Have a Knife Days' new Stroop knife with the serrated back edge at Blade Show, and wow, what a honey. Alan Costello, you would like that one, the Stroop Knives 5. Sword XXY, good to have you here. Good day, and happy Independence Day to you, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Well, thank you, sir. It's good to have you. And I saw a funny meme today thanking England for the most Independence Days worldwide. Split and Slice is nice to have you here, Byron. Howdy, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. And Independence Day, Thursday Night Knives. That's right, sir. That's right. I kept it to 3 beers earlier today, and like I was telling Jim, it was hot by the pool, and they were going down easily. We have an awesome community pool with a lot of great friends, so we were there all day, and there were all sorts of festivities, but I had to be responsible because I knew I had to come report from the knife front. Will B says, happy 4th, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Will B, always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us on this national holiday. Anthony Kitchen, good to have you here, Anthony. Beginning the USA chant now. Good idea, TheKnifeJunkie. I like that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Suave P, good to have you here, Suave. Dang, that's a Bowie. This thing is, I often talk about how awesome and generous my brother is. He is both awesome and generous, interesting, and definitely not a normie, but succeeds in the normie world. And he gets me stuff like this. He gets me all my cool historical knives. That's how it's turning out. This Bowie he gave me, but that's because I was like, if you ever see one exactly like that again, you have to buy it for me. And eventually he's like, fine, just take it. Take the damn thing. So sometimes I've pressured him into giving me knives, but he's the one that started it all way back when I was a little kid, and he had a cool little plastic knife that he wouldn't let me play with. And if he had only let me play with that, I probably could have gotten that out of my system long ago. Craig Vincent, nice to have you here, Craig. Evening, Star Spangled Junkers, and everyone else. I like that, Star Spangled Junkers. Yeah, everything I pulled out tonight, and I should show off more, is made in America. Just because I love my Chinese stuff, I love my Japanese stuff, I love my German and Italian stuff, but tonight it's American stuff. Doug Bowl, nice to have you here, Doug. Hi, Bob. Independence Day. Oh my goodness, happy Independence Day to you. I just got a little bit of a momentary flip-flop in there. Jay Demeter, nice to have you here, Jay. Made it to the live. Happy 4th of July. Well, thanks for coming to the live on the 4th of July. That's cool. I appreciate that. My wife is like, no one's going to come. And I was like, they never come anyway. No, I'm just kidding. You guys are awesome. And I love these Thursday nights. And I thought, you know what? Some people might be done with all the festivities and ready to sit down and strap a blade and listen to some poetic waxing about knives. Just me. Nice to have you here, Just. Lots of drunks, eh? I don't know. Oh, is this happening in the comments? I certainly have remained good and sober. I'm doing this for you. Plus, I got to work tomorrow, man. It sucks to have a day off on Thursday. Well, I was going to say it sucks to have a day off on Thursday and go back to Friday, but it doesn't suck as much to not have Thursday off and have to go on Friday. So all things considered, it's been a great week. Greetings and happy 4th, says OG Blades. Nice to have you here, Dave. OG Blade Reviews. We are giving away a knife tonight. That OG Blade Dave gave us. I'm going to show you this right here. This is really cool. This is designed by Canadian, but that's kind of still America. Canadian knife maker Brian Tai with the American Knife Company, CRKT, manufactured in China. And it is a super cool knife. This flipper button lock, I swear, CRKT, I'm going to quote my daughters for a second, had this on lock, or are they still saying that? Way before flipper button locks became a thing that needed to be perfected. I got to say, CRKT was nailing it here. So very nicely done. I like this knife a lot. This is called the Tie Fighter. Everything by Brian Tie, Tigh, is Tie something. So Tie Fighter, Tie Stick, Tie, all these different different variations of the word tie are his blades. They're interesting. I tried to have him on the show a few years back, and we flirted a little bit with email, but he didn't have the bandwidth at the time with stuff going on in his life. But very interesting designs from this guy, very sculptural, and his customs are, well, they're out of this world. And he's got some mid-techs out there, I think made by Riot maybe, or some super high quality manufacturing. And then he's got these CRKTs, and this one definitely is commits you a little bit to the grip, but it's awesome in reverse grip or in saber or hammer grip, or I mean, it's very comfortable. This is what we're giving away tonight. All you got to do is hashtag knife in the comment section. Hashtag knife. Just drop it down there. Cost you nothing. I'll send it to you, and you can do what thou wilt. This is a great knife. I think this is 8CR13 MOV, like everything CRKT does pretty much for many, many, many years. Actually, it doesn't say on here, but I'm assuming it's got the IKBS, and it's a very cool knife. So this could be yours free of charge. All you got to do is put in hashtag knife in the comments. Have a Knife Day says, I do own a lot of American-made knives, especially since I've been making a point of buying them from smaller makers. Making a point. I see what you did there. Yeah, I like that too. And buying from smaller makers and getting to know them is, I don't know. It's a great thing, and it gives the knife more value. Greg Vanderlip, nice to have you here, sir. Vanderlip Dam. I don't know if that was a real place, but in Chinatown, that was the dam. That was the dam that gave way. That had Horace Mulray all up in arms. Well, it's nice to have you here, Greg Vanderlip. I like your last name. And a million waves back at you, sir. It's good to have you. Have a Knife Day says, freedom means to me that it shouldn't be taken for granted, that the barbecues being enjoyed were made possible by people we most likely never knew, and that we should guard our freedoms jealously. And thank you to you on a day like today, sir, because Have a Knife Day is one of those men who has fought for us and fought for our freedom. And so thank you very much to you and your brother, sir. It's greatly appreciated. Kilkenny, nice to have you here. Happy 4th, junkies. Well, happy 4th to you, man. Did you blow any fireworks off tonight? We had definitely had some illegal fireworks in our neighborhood, some stuff bigger than you're supposed to be blowing off, and that's always cool. And I live in a nice, quiet suburban neighborhood, but man, I swear I heard some stuff that wasn't fireworks. That fellow there, nice to see you, that fellow there. It's been a while. Oh no, how's it going, Bob? Good to have you here. I texted you you texted me. In a couple months, you'll have to show me where the good knife shops are in Virginia. They're right here in this basement, dude. There are no knife shops in Virginia. Oh, I shouldn't say that. I know that. Oh, Jim, can you go back, please? I know that Knife Center is in Frederick, but like close by. So you texted me. I got to check my texts. I obviously missed that, but that's awesome. You and I tried to hook up a couple of years ago when you were in town for some work stuff, and we weren't able to connect. So that's awesome. You're moving here. We'll be able to connect on the regular and do some knife guy stuff. Good to hear from you, man. Have a Knife Day says, I do like that Southern Bowie. You pull that out and it'll be a conversation starter. No doubt. It's very extreme. And I gotta give a shout out to my brother, who not only gave it to me, but made this beautiful leather sheath. His sheath making comes and goes. He's a very busy man and has a bunch of hobbies, but when he busts out his leather skills, he's a man of many talents. It's pretty cool. Todd Carr, nice to have you here, Todd. Good evening, everyone, he says. And a good evening back to you. Happy 4th of July to all my neighbors to the south. Todd, good to know. I forgot that you were from up there, but I've sent you stuff before. Alex, nice to have you. Alex Castero, good to have you. Great show. What do you think of Flat Rock Forge Itoa. How do you pronounce that? Itawa. I know I've heard that pronounced. I don't know Flat Rock Forge. I don't know them at all. Uh, Tell me about their knives, Alex. What kind of stuff do they make? I know I'd be interested. OG Blade Review says, "Hey, that's a cool giveaway knife." Did I really put that in the box? Yeah, you did. You want to win it back? All you got to do to win this knife tonight, and OG Blades is the man who gave it to us. All you got to do is put #knife in the comments. Why am I putting it there when I could put it here where you could see it all nice and lit up? Doug says, Bob, having a day off is like coming out of the deep end of the pool. No doubt. Having a day off. You're right about that. Today, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for every day above ground. And even more than that, happy for every day that I'm above ground, that those that I love are as well. So yeah, all is good here. It's just I wish I didn't have to go to work tomorrow, but I know you get that. Split and Slices says big kudos, happy 4th, OG Togata. I like that Togata. That fellow there. Question for you: if you were battling the Brits during the Battle of Fort McHenry, in your present knife collection, which knives would you have on you for the battle? Well, here, let's do this. I quite likely might have this tomahawk. So we'll start with a little tomahawk. This is the Black Hawk Forge. Ow. Black Hawk. Wait. Brave Hawk. I'm sorry. I always say Black Hawk. Brave Hawk Forge tomahawk. This is the what's it called? It's a French word for lady, and it's because of these curves. It's very good at throwing. I would have this on me. I might have, oh goodness gracious, I think I have the knives I would have here. And if I had a squire who could carry other knives, I would expand this. But I just might take this right here. I've been in a little love affair lately with my this is my Randall made special number 1 16. So it's a 16 handle with the number 1 fighter, and I can never keep the whole name straight, but I absolutely love this knife. It's a great, you could make this a great all-arounder, but with the sharpened swedge, it is also 100% a fighter. And then, of course, I would have this fighter for the duels, because if that's happening, I might get in a duel. And if the pistols fail, or if we decide to duel with fighting knives, I would have this on me. Of course, I would have the Agent 001 on my belt, front belt buckle carry like normal. So that would be there for sure. And a Bowie. I'm not sure if it would be this one, but I have this one out tonight, and this is a fine example. Looks a lot like the Western V44 that I had out, but this is the V49, W49. This one is the what the hell is this one? The V44 Bowie from Bark River Knives in A2. Sorry, I forgot. Brain lock here. But so that's a lot of knives, and I wouldn't all have them on me at all times. Sometimes the squires would have some, and sometimes, of course, I would have swords too. And from this collection, I would have this barong. This one right here is just, it's really just really badass. So I would take that for sure. Help with Gadgets says, "Good evening, folks. Good to have you here. Help with Gadgets. Hope everyone is having a great 4th. I had an awesome 4th of July. I slept until 10 o'clock today. And to me, that's like, I haven't really I've been working up to it. When we were on vacation recently, I slept till 9, and I'm going for it. I get up at 5 every morning. Well, I get up at 5 times a week, and I do my old man exercises and stuff. If I can sleep till 9 or 10, yeah, I'm going to do that, especially considering I don't like going to bed early, and I do like to get up early. So I'm always in a sleep deficit. So anyway, today was awesome. And then the pool, and then eat poolside hamburgers, Costco hamburgers. Love those things, made by the hundreds. and just anonymous hamburgers. Love that. And then later, my wife made a awesome dinner. Happy 4th to you, Robert Strebin. Good to have you here. Bob Jim Junkies, he says, out there. Well, Robert, it's been a pleasure. Those lacrosse sticks, my youngest daughter is starting to fall for lacrosse. I think she's admires a couple of older girls who play lacrosse, and looks like that might be in my future, which I'm all for, just as long as it doesn't turn into some travel thing. No, I'm just kidding. I'll do anything for those damn girls. Kyle, good to have you here. Kyle Coonley. I'm going to say Coonley. Evening, weirdos. Thank you. Thank you for just like being on the nose about it. It's true. Evening to you, sir. Good to have you. Doug Bull says, Bob, do you remember the M80 and the M500? Oh, the M80, I remember. I mean, to me, the M80 was like, my father, who was a physician and read x-rays, he was a radiologist, was like, yeah, we're not getting any of that stuff. You know how many fingers I saw blown off this year? So I have a permanent respect for motorcycles and fireworks, because my dad saw a lot of people mess themselves up with both of those things. And whenever when I was a teenager and I was like, yeah, man, I want to go. My friend Mike's getting a motorcycle. He's like, not on your life. Like, well, when you leave and you're making your own money, you can do whatever you want. I can't stop you. But when you're under this roof, you got that. That fellow there says that Randall is awesome. Great choices. Well, thank you, sir. Yeah, this to me would be the sidearm. Like, I would have a gun belt, and preferably I would have something like really cool, like maybe more symbolically cool than practical, like a big 44 Magnum revolver on one hip, that's for somehow air light but big and metal and heavy, and then this would be on the other hip. Yes, this to me is the quintessential combat classic. I don't know how the tomahawk would fit in terms of carry, but it would somehow. Robert says, how do you feel about camouflage design on knives? Yes, no, maybe. It depends. I would like to get a paramilitary too, or a military with the camo, that digi camo G10. I think that's cool. I would go for that. Camo on a blade itself, I could go for that, like on occasion on a cool knife, but I'm not in general. Like, it's got to be well done, because if it's not, it'll remind me of those 80s survival knives that we all had, if we were around then, with the little round compass and the giant cutout to open bottles for some reason on the back of the blade and all that, and the tang that was about half an inch long. In other words, cheap. If it doesn't look cheap and if it looks good, I could get down. There was a Gerber dagger from the 80s that my buddy had. He still has it. It's so cool. And it was not the Mark 5 or whatever the Mark series was. It was a little bit different. It looked almost like a larger version of the boot dagger with a flattened handle, but everything was camo and it was really cool. Very well done. Craig Vincent says, I cut a pickle for my burger today with my Espada XL. That is the spirit, my man. I was the only knife. It was the only knife at the picnic, but many were in awe and asked me to cut their pickles too. America is the freedom to cut our pickles. That is awesome, dude. I love that. And they, you built bridges there, my brother. You built bridges there to the normies. You're like, look, it might be giant, might be folding. It might be able to lop off like everyone's head in the crowd, but I'm not going to do that. You could do that with a lawnmower, if you're motivated enough. But we're not doing that. We're just here enjoying our knives, enjoying our freedom, our pickles, our hamburgers. Let's get on with it. And people are like, yeah, knives. And that's how it happens, people. Todd Carr says, I imagine a saber would have been popular around that time, along with a bayonet issued for firearms. Yeah, and they were those bayonets that, like, it was like a full-on socket, and then it had a little protrusion, and then a spade-shaped or a triangular pike. Oh, nasty! Get hit in the gut with one of those. Ooh. issued for the firearms most probably would have an eating knife that served as a hunting fighting knife as well. Yep, that sounds, I mean, I wouldn't doubt that. It's like the Hudson Bay knife, that one of those trapping knives. It's kind of a do-all. Looks kind of like a Bowie, looks kind of like a butcher knife, looks kind of like a hunting knife, looks kind of like a fighting knife. XM Prime, nice to have you here, XM. What is your opinion on Bastinelli Mako? All right, I like the Mako design. I don't have it. My experience with Bastinelli knives has been very good. I have two currently in my collection. I have the fixed blade Anomaly, and I have the large Dragotac. So one's a fixed blade and one is a folder. They're both outstanding. They're both made. One is made by Fox and one is made by Lion Steel. So they're both manufactured by great, very good manufacturers in Italy. All of his knives, and the ones that are custom, he kind of gets his hands on, but they're still made there. And then he does his stuff too. Like I have a custom, my Anomaly, he did the handle for. But his designs are outstanding. They feel great in the hand. They're very well made. You're not going to find them in, that's not true. Some of them now come in M390, but most of them are in N690 CO, which is the most common steel used in Italy and Italian knife making. But unless your needs are real extreme and you need a knife blade steel stronger than that, you probably don't need one of his tactical delicacies, if you will. So I would say XM Prime, ultimately, if you like the look of the Bastinelli Mako, you will love the knife itself. It will be a great knife. And also, if you get it and you don't like it, you will not have a hard time selling it, and you will probably get a decent, you'll probably get close to your money back on that. That's not a guarantee. Anthony Kitchen says, I got one, a PM2 camo. Want to trade, Bob? Not the PM2. If it were a military 2 with the camo, I would consider trading. I do want a military 2, but since I don't carry my military enough, I kind of feel like spending that money, it could be spent elsewhere better. I know Have a Knife Day has a couple of those new military 2s, and at least one of them is VEFT, which I think is cool. Have a Knife Day says, I had one of those hollow handle Gerber daggers. One of those hollow handle Gerber. Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Oh, you're saying the flat one with the aluminum handle, that was hollow? I bet it probably was. I think it was cast. Paul Mills, nice to have you here, Paul. The Knife Junkie, he says. Well, good to have you here, Paul. I was trying to see what the knife was in your avatar, but I couldn't tell. Sharp Love, nice to have you here, Sharp. How about the tactile knife? Archer, though. I think the Archer is sweet. I love that knife. I have the Chupacabra right here. I don't have it right here. I thought I just pulled it out. It must be somewhere around here, but I have the Chupacabra. I love that. I also have the Rockwall. I love that. But the Archer is gorgeous. I think it looks really nice. There are a lot of really nice variations to it. And at Blade Show, I got to handle it, and I handled it for a while. And it's a really nice one. I mean, definitely an expensive one. And but if you like the way it looks, it's made in Texas. You will love it. It felt great. Everything about it was nice. It felt like, yeah, I think you'll like it. I think it's worth the saving up for and the waiting for. I would imagine the Archer is one of those ones that they release, it sells out, and then you got to wait. That's just how it is with a lot of the makers that don't have huge capacity, but that's part of what we like about them. Have a Knife Day says, I have my folding M16A2 with my underslung M203 grenade launcher. Oh, that's not a knife. I always thought, well, first of all, that the M16A2 with the underslung, aka my little friend. I've always loved the M16 with the M203. I was just thought that was like cinematically cool. Like it looked cool when you saw it in movies, and I just always thought that would be a one to surprise people with. It's not just an M16, but look, thunk, boom. Was that a 40 millimeter grenade launcher? Is that what that is? So cool. Later Picture Show. Nice to have you here, Lady Picture Show 72. If that 72 means what I think it means, hello, sister. Enjoying my recently acquired The Bastard Child. Cool. By Craig Moffat, a collaboration with Scott Babb. They just came out with a second run of those. Very interesting blade. Very cool. I was just talking about the Chris and how I don't see enough Chris's out there. This is not a Chris, but it's got waves in it, and it's just a very different blade shape. It's very unique. It's kind of like a Chris meets a Pikal, kind of, but it's not a Pikal setup. It is an interesting looking knife. And Greg Moffat, I've been following him for years. He's got a lot of cool little wicked self-defense, double-edgy, curvy. Well, one of them is curved. And I like his elephant logo too. God damn. Excuse me, I'm thirsty. Sharp Love says, every Italian knife I've gotten, what are you saying, has QC issues, and they ain't known for their heat treats. Yeah. I don't know about the heat treats. I have heard of QC issues, but not on any of the Italian knives I have. But I've never gotten. Everything I have is a collaboration, so I don't have a straight up Lion Steel by Lion Steel. I have a Bastinelli made by Lion Steel, and I wonder if there's a difference in quality with OEM projects in certain companies. I don't know. I can't defend them 100%, but I feel that ethnic pull to want to say, I get it. I get it. People say that about Italian cars. I don't have the experience with them, but I do know they're beautiful. I do know that Italians have a way with design and a way with finessing materials. But yeah, if it doesn't ultimately do its job well, then that doesn't mean anything. Bella Bear 88. Nice to have you here, Bella. Hello all. Well, hello to you, Bella. OG Blade says 20 Bastinellis in the collection, can't go wrong. Dave has I bet you've got a playlist. He's got as you know, a killer Bastinelli collection. And every time we mention it, I always say the Apocalypse, Apocalypse. I can't remember exactly how you pronounce it, but I love that one. It's like a modern day Viking knife. G-Man W, good to have you here, G-Man. What's up, guys? He says, well, what's up with you? I'm going to put this over to the side. What's up with you? It's nice to have you here. Happy 4th of July. Just Me says, been carrying a knife by Lostico. It's a Warncliffe. Funny enough, the only knife I lose often. Oh, that's funny. I wonder how common that is. I'd like to ask him. That's hilarious. Speaking of which, well, I got a couple of Warncliffes in front of me, and maybe that's a good segue into this here pocket check. Let's do that right now. Let's get to a pocket check.
What's in his pocket? Let's find out. Here's the Knife Junkie with his pocket check of knives.
So all American carry today, and actually turns out everyone I carried today I've interviewed on the show, and to me that's cool. To me, I'm proud of that and psyched about that. This here is the Emerson Sock A, the SOCFK-A, and it's an old one. This one I got used off of Blade Forums, and it's a great knife. I've used this a lot. It's like the most utility style Emerson I have. Like if I need, well, I don't do that often, but when I need an Emerson that I know I'm actually going to be using, and it's not in my pocket for self-defense, this is what I go for. It's got the serrations. I rarely use those, but this front portion is just so damn sharp. It's incredible. Smaller blade. It's like a 3.3 inch blade, maybe stretching 3.4, but just an old design and an old build. When is this from? I guess they weren't dating it, so it's not. 2005. So that's almost 20 years. It's almost 20 years there. That's a 19-year-old knife. That's right, 19-year-old. That's awesome. I actually love it when I find out, or when I remember that some of the knives I have are really old and I'm still carrying them. It's like, that's cool. Anyway, next up, American Blade Works. slip joint. I don't think it goes by anything other than American Blade Works slip joint. It is awesome. I love this little knife. It does not require a sheath. It's just small enough to fit in the pocket without a pouch, that even if it's going, perpendicular to my leg and lying flat at the bottom of my pocket, I don't, it just doesn't bother me. So it's the perfect sized. It's like the size of the number 14 or the number 15 boy's knife, or the little bro, or that kind of knife. So just slightly undersized. Perfect. That's Magna Cut at 6364, as American Blade Works heat treats it. Super thin. This thing I've shaved. I've mentioned it recently. I shaved a little bit off my face just to see if it could do it, and it could do it. It was very unpleasant, but usually I can't get that. I can't get a knife to actually shave my stubble. This did it. So there you go. Next up, speaking of Wharncliffes, let me take a sip of this here coffee. Oh, that's good. Speaking of Wharncliffes, the Nova 2. The Nova 2, and we have finally gotten the store up. We're going to do a test purchase, make sure everything is rocking, and then I'm going to release a video saying that these are up. I've spoken with Matt Chase. We have the changes that are going to be made to the prototype, and none of it is with the knife. It's all with the sheath, and it's very little. Very little, actually. The color of the Kydex is changing to a charcoal gray, and we're going to go with the larger DCC clip this time. My personal preference has changed. For a long time, I liked this very small clip and had it go over the pants, and then had my belt go over this. I feel my preference changing to the larger one that can do either just over the pants and under the belt, or go over the belt. So we will be changing those items, but the knife itself is staying the same. 154 cm, deeply hollow ground. That is the profile you will see. We've got the acid stone wash. This is a prototype. They will be numbered. Has my logo on one side and the Hogtooth Knives logo on the other. Ivory G10 right here. It just looks like blown out white, but it is a very nice, let me see if I can get it to adjust. It's a very nice ivory color G10, and you can see some of the texture of the G10. It looks very nice, but it's polished. And you got the black screws and the red. It's just a really nice combo. I'm very, very excited about these. These will be well, I'll put up the video saying go for it, because I've made a test and I know it works, but the site is live, and you can buy the Nova 2. So I'm very excited about that. And then lastly here, I just sent a bunch of mixed messages. Let me make sure that it works. Let me make a test purchase first, and then I will tell you, go buy the knife if you're interested. But we're right there at the precipice. We had a few little hangups there, and Blade Show and some other things, but now we are ready to go. And here we go. This is the last thing I was carrying. I carry this a lot. This is probably, at this point, besides the CRKT Minimalist and the Bastinelli Diagnostic, which I carried on me every day under my work ID. This is the most carried on purpose neck knife, I think, in quite some time. Here's the opening loop. This Wazoo thing is very cool. It just breaks apart here, just in case. But here's the knife itself. This is the Knives by Nuge. It's called I know I have it down there as the Primitive, but this is the Wicket, the Primitive Wicket. I got the name wrong, and I recently just realized I was saying the name wrong. So the model is the Wicket, but when he wraps it in this beautiful jute cord and burns it and epoxies it, I love it. I love it. I love it. He calls it the Primitive because it looks primitive. Thank you, man. Look at how fast. But look at how thin it is in this version. Instead of having G10 slabs or micarta slabs on either side, this little knife just hangs even next to the skin under a t-shirt. It doesn't print. It doesn't hassle. It doesn't feel annoying against the skin, even with this jute cord, which I thought would scratch, make me itch and like be uncomfortable. I love this knife. This can be on you like all the time. 80 CRV2, very nice Scandinavian grind. It's got a 90-degree back spine. It is a great knife. He makes this little wicket knife in all sorts of different configurations. Some of them have like tropical patterns on them and are bright and colorful. Some of them look like this, like, you know, what you're going to have around your neck in the jungle for the years you spend surviving there, to everything in between. So check out Knives by Nuge. He's awesome. Tom Nugent, former law enforcement officer in New Jersey, making knives and living an outdoor lifestyle. So that's what I had on me today. What did you have on you? Let me know. Let's talk about it. And while we do, and while I put these away, let me remind you that tonight at 11 o'clock, or I should say in about 19 minutes or so, we're going to give away this awesome CRKT TIE fighter, a collaboration between the great CRKT and the super creative Brian TIE, a Canadian custom knife maker. Check this out. They were doing button lock flippers before button lock flippers were being done, and they were doing a fantastic job at it. So hashtag knife down there in the comments. So what were you guys carrying? Are you guys fixed blade aficionados or carriers, daily carriers of thereof? Because I'm digging them. I mean, obviously, I dig them, but I love carrying them. Even with a swimsuit, you can carry a fixed blade knife. It's amazing. Sharp Left says, I carried a Lion Steel Thrill for maybe 3 days, and somehow the slip joint mechanism failed. Blade just flops around, just opened boxes with it. Oh, you should send that back. They should know about that. Sharp Love, somehow you should send, make them make good on it, A, and B, they should know that, someone should be fired. No, but really, it helps a company to know that their product sucks. Loser, nice to have you, Mr. Zur. KJ, what do you think about Viper Knives, an Italian company? I don't know. I don't have any Viper knives. I know that Dave OG Blades does. What I will say is that the Viper, there's a Viper that I think is so cool looking. It'll come to me. The Viper Rhino is very cool and unique and interesting, but the Viper Keeper, it's a weird name. The Viper Keeper, I think it's called, like the Trapper Keeper. That is a good looking knife. But that said, Lou, I haven't experienced them personally. I have picked them up at Blade Show, but I haven't carried them or lived with them. That doesn't tell you too much. Will B says, I only have one Bastinelli, the Mako, and I enjoy it. Need more. Yeah, the Mako is cool. And the Mako folder looks cool too. It looks like you can wave that thing open, right? XM Prime says, will be me too. Probably the stealthiest blade ever. It's like that wicked little upward turn blade. Bella Bear 88 says, get OG Blade reviews back on the podcast. Oh, I will indeed. It's always good to have him on the podcast. He's been on twice, so we'll have him on again. Paul Mills says, mini FSD and my transparent knives rebladed bug out. Ooh, very nice. Oh, you have a transparent knives rebladed bug out. What is the knife? What does the blade look out? Sorry. What does the blade look like? I've seen him do a bunch of different blade styles for that knife. Mark Stallman, nice to have you here. Happy 4th of July, he says. Long live the Republic. Indeed, sir. Own that exact Emerson. Love it. If I had something more potent to salute you with than coffee, I would do it. But long live the Republic, sir. A Republic, if you can keep it. That fellow there says, carrying the 2014 Vindicator today. Ooh, I like the Vindicator. Who is it? Scab. Very frequently carries a Vindicator, and he'll hold it up, and you see the profile. It's such a nice looking blade, that recurve buoy. Split and Slices says, Carry is USA. Hogtooth, Matt Chase, TKJ Nova 1, a fine choice, sir, and a Pine Knot Stockman in a JO Ventures slip. I don't have any JO Ventures, or even I've heard the name, but I've heard his stuff is awesome. Pine Knot, and what did you say? Was that a Stockman? 3-bladed Stockman? I think that's what he said. Stockman. I love the Stockman pattern, especially a two-bladed Stockman where they have the sheep's foot blade and the spay blade in there, kind of, cattywampus to one another, and all nestled snugly in there. I have a couple of buck Stockmans, and they're nice, but the way they like, I like it on the small one. They 3-spring it here. How is yours? Is yours a 3-spring or a 2-spring? Doesn't matter. They're both awesome, but that's just my preference. G-Man W. I'm carrying an Emerson CQC7, excellent choice, and a McNeese Mac 2 3.5. I think he recently just dropped a whole bunch of those. I've been seeing them a lot, like a green Anno version of them somehow. Help with Gadgets says my fourth carry was the Berg Sweeney. That's a cool one. Pardon me. With red Mars Valley scales. Asher Warney. Asher knives. Warney with silver carbon fiber. Pretend it's white scales. And the Skaha with blue scales. That Skaha is a nice knife. I gotta say, I don't think it's much of a looker, but man, is it a user and a feeler. It feels great in the hand, I guess is what I mean. And I got to be honest, I had one here on loan and I didn't really use it, but it feels like it would be a great user. I cut paper with it. It was slicey, felt great in hand, and had the great action. But it's not like I had it for a long time and used it. But reports from the front say it's pretty damn awesome. That fellow there says, anyone have experience with American service knives? I often carry a Pioneer X and was considering upgrading to ASK. Okay, John, we have who is it who always has an ASK? It's either Blade Ogre or Will Be. I think it's Blade Ogre. The American service knife, those are the Medford versions, right? Of the Medford kind of version of the Victorinoxes, I believe. Someone here in the chat, maybe not tonight, but on the somewhat regular, has one of those. Have a Knife Day says, where do we purchase your knife from? Oh, well, you go to store.TheKnifeJunkie.com, and you will see it there. store.TheKnifeJunkie.com. Of course, I will have all this in the video I make, and this is not an official release, but I guess I just opened up my big mouth. And let me just say this right now, that if you purchase it, if you really want the knife, it's not inexpensive, but if you want the knife and you buy it and you want your special serial number on it, if it's low enough, we can get it on there. So let me know in the directions if you want. Like for instance, I always get 44 on this knife. On the Nova 1, we didn't go up that high, so I have the prototype anyway. But if you want a special number, let me know. Todd Carr says, Leatherman Surge plus accessories, Gerber Dime and Shard, Cold Steel 8010. I like that knife a lot. I've been revisiting. Summertime, I use that outside a lot. Civivi Riffle, the PBK Pocket Lucky Fixie, PBK. I'm hung up on that. You gotta let me know what that is. Something knife. Olight I3T. I like that one. I have that one on my keychain, and the Open Mini Rovivon A3 and a Forest Hank. Rovivon A3 sounds like a flashlight, right? Cold Steel. Wait, what was I going to ask you about? Oh, let me know what the PBK Pocket Lucky Fixie is. I'm sure I'll kick myself when you say what it is, but I just can't think of it. OG Blade says, today's firecracking carry, tenable. All right. We'll get to that in a second. Tenable Nest Street button lock. Very cool knife. I like that Nest Street design. I think that's Karambit maker. Kunwu Pulsar XL. Very cool. In LMAX and titanium. DC Knives Rev prototype by Shield. And oh, cool. I've been carrying this DC Knives all week. I love this thing, the scythe. The CRKT. I'm psyched to see that rev, by the way. CRKT Redemption by Ken Onion. Happened to have had, I'm sorry to do this, but Ken Onion out and about for the first time in ages also today. What a great designer is Ken Onion. By Hogue. CRKT Redemption by Ken Onion by Hogue. Okay, right. Made by Hogue. Produced in the movie sense by CRKT and designed by Ken Onion in MagnaCut, and of course the Agent 001. Sir, what an honor it is to have that knife in your hands. I'm going to put it up right here. There it is, the TKL Knives Agent 001. What a cool knife. And I love that beautiful purple. Will B says Hinderer XM24 Battlefield Pickup Sponto full tie. Is that new? Has it always been full tie? Olamic Soloist. You sent me pictures of that, and it is beautiful. I'm not a huge Olamic fan. I am a huge fan of your Olamic Soloist, though, in that green. It's just gorgeous. Microtech Amphibian, an awesome knife. Benchmade Infidel in S30V, very nasty knife. TKL knife, Night Stalker, awesome. TKL knife, Sapper, Jealous, Olight Warrior Nano, and Olight Baton 3 Pro Max. Now, if you're jealous like I am of Will B's TKL Knives Sapper, I do know that there is a, what do you call it? Pre-order is now open on that, and you can pre-buy one of those. I wish I could, man. I really wish I could right now. I want a Sapper. I want them all. I want to have all the knives and then give back the ones I don't, because that would be easier. Lady Picture Show 72 says Nova 2. Yeah, you like it? I'm going to pull it out again. Since he said it. Since he said Nova 2. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this knife. And I'll tell you, on my vacation, which involved a lot of like bumming around in a swimsuit, this was 3 o'clock a lot. And I got to say, this rounded off handle is short. I mean, you can still get a 4-finger grip on there, but it's short and rounded and is very kind on the love handles. Now, I'm in decent shape, but I'm also a 52-year-old man, and there are certain laws of nature and gravity that I just cannot fight. So I got a little extra where I don't like it, and this is very kind on that. So if you need to lose a little from your midsection and you want a fixed blade knife, that is a hollow ground Kiradashi. That is super awesome for utility, but will also be incredible if you need to fight with it. This is the one right here. Will B says, I went All-American 2 aside from my lights. Okay. The lights, I think if you want an American light, you're paying like hundreds of dollars, right? You're getting some sort of custom knife or light. Is that right? Dion, nice to have you here, sir. Hello, King Junkie, Jim, and all you junkies. Dion, happy 4th of July, my man. It's good to have you here. Bob's Pocket Knives. I like your name, sir. My favorite USA-made knives are Case Sodbuster Juniors. Oh, #knife. Okay, good. He's in there. And let me remind you, technically in 6 minutes, we're going to be giving this away, but I am married into a Bolivian family, and I'm late now to everything. So I'm sure we'll have a little bit coming, a little bit of time, wiggle room space. Jim, I'm sorry, can you go back 1 sec? And then I want to get back to lady. The Case Sodbuster Jr. Yeah, I got the yellow-handled Sodbuster Jr. with the CV blade. That thing is so incredibly sharp. I mean, I've sharpened it to, it's like a scalpel. I do love that knife, and I want to get that knife in the red bone handle, also with the CV. Lady Picture Show says fixed blade daily. Yes, indeed, fixed blade daily. I always, the whole reason I ever started carrying a knife was always about self-defense. When I was a young man, I started re-carrying a knife. It was always about that, and it kind of has always been about that. And then I learned how to use them by training in Kali and Filipino martial arts, and still carry them for that. And when I think about carrying something like, say, this, which is an awesome knife, but I'm like, man, would I be able to actuate it? Would I be able to get it out, open it, get it into position without fumbling it? And then this blade in particular would limit the things I could do with it. And so there's so much that goes into using a folder. If you're actually thinking of it as a self-defense thing, that's why I like fixed blade knives on a daily carry basis. But also this summer, we've been doing some work at the pool because my wife is a board member. So now we do work and stuff. And this knife, this is the TheKnifeJunkie Agent 002, which is, it would also be a great fighting knife, but it's an awesome utility knife. This thing has come in totally clutch for so many different things. So fixed blade knife carry for self-defense, fixed blade knife carry for really sturdy work knife. Yeah, I'm with you. Daily fixed blade carry. Yes, indeed. All right. I didn't mean that to be a sermon, but yes, I'm and while we're on TKL knives, this is the one that got me totally Lord Needham. Nice to have you here, sir. Oh, get out of here. I like this knife a lot. Lamia Gen 3, full size area. Oh, okay. Oh my God. All right. This guy's balling. Lord Needham, definitely earning the title Lord with this carry. So he's got a Steingraber Performance Knives Lamia Gen 3, which is, to me, that's definitely a Grail folder. I have a couple of Grail folders, and that's now on the list because I didn't think of that. I recently made a list. It's the Sharp by Design Arch Nemesis. It's anything from Charles Marlowe, but preferably the Squale. And we're talking about folders here. The Lamia is definitely on that list. And then, what was the last one? I have a last one, and it'll come to me. That's not like I don't love a bunch of other ones, but when I think of Grail, I think more of fixed blades. Just Me says, purely fixed for me, really. Oh, really? That's kind of like our good friend Steven, who carries like 10 TKL knives at once, and then others too. Bob says, I love traditional pocket knives. I just recently got my first GEC, Beaver Tail Barlow. Nice. With cherry wood covers. Okay. All right. Since I have favorite American knives out, I pulled out a GEC, only one. I should have pulled out more, but let me show you one of my favorite GECs. It's the number 86. It's I only have two of the number 15. I have three of the number 15, and I have two of the 86. Everything else I only have one of, and I don't, and that's like, I think I have about 20. That's a lot, but but anyway, the 86 is one of my favorites. It is a classic American jackknife pattern, at least in the year that I have it here. It's got the really nice clip point blade. Sorry, brain lock there. And then this amazing coping blade on the other side. This giant coping blade or sheep's foot blade, whatever you want to call this. And man, I love this one. It's got great walk and talk, really beautiful covers here with this autumn jig bone. I'm not sure what that jigging pattern is called. And then I have the other one I have is in tortoise shell. God, it's gorgeous. And I got one for me and one for my brother because my brother also loves tortoise shell and is the one who basically exposed me to tortoise shell through the pick guards of Fender Stratocasters. Jesse says, evening all. Jesse, evening to you, sir. What was your carry American and anything American in your carry? Jennifer Reed, nice to have you here, Jennifer. Happy 4th, everyone. Happy 4th to you. Today's carry, the Brighton Blades, was a Brighton Blades and my Kaiser Chili Pepper. My girls all have Brighton Blades. My wife has two. I got her one that, so I got them all, these little keychain knives. First time I met them at Blade Show, and then after I had them on the interview show, I got my wife one that comes in a sort of wallet case. That's very cool. I can't remember what the name of it is though. And then that chili pepper. That's just a sweet knife. OG Blades has a new chili pepper with the fat carbon and M390. Isn't that right, Dave? So an exotic chili pepper, if you will. Craig Vincent says Cold Steel 8010, a spot. Oh God, here we go. All right. Craig Vincent is a Cold Steel aficionado. Let's get to it. Cold Steel 8010, a Spada XL, Serrated Vaquero XL. The Carve, that's the cool new, I think they're calling it a sax blade. The Rat 1 in S35EN, very nice. The Murdered Out Spyderco Shaman. The Perrin Ladag. I like anything by Fred Perrin, and the Ladag is that little dagger. Civivi Typheus, that you got here on this show, I believe. The Steel Warrior Doctor's Knife, and the Road Runner. I'm such an idiot. The Rough Rider Stoneworks Peanut. Don't go forward yet. Okay, I don't have it with me. The Fred Perrin. I have this little Fred Perrin knife, that stowaway OSA style knife that Jock's Knife gave me as a thank you, and I keep it small, and I keep it on the back of my work ID. It's just kind of the ball chain goes through the sheath, and there it is, and if I need it, it's there. But I love Fred Perrin stuff, and I had a chance to talk with him and Zach Wingard at the same time at Blade Show, and it was a very cool meeting of the minds. Those two guys are both interesting dudes. Kilkenny says, carry for the day, Rosecraft Bowfin. That is a really cool one. I really like that new knife. Victorinox Farmer X, very nice. And the Mora Companion. I like the Companion too. Very nice carry. Angry Tom's Hat Next Door. Good to have you here, Angry Tom. Hello, everyone. Today I had the Blade HQ Wiener Warrior. Oh, is that the Kalishnikov that's got a rounded off blade that looks like a hot dog, with my Wiener Warrior Zippo, play Wiener Warrior Tinker, and my Wiener Warrior Classic SD. Wait, what the hell? Hang on. Let me go back. Wiener Warrior exclusive, and then the Zippo, and then the Tinker, and the Classic SD. But the first one, is that the Boker? The Wiener Warrior? I think it is. Let me know, Angry Tom. But I like it. It's all on theme, and I like that, especially on a thematic day, 4th of July. Dwayne, nice to have you here. Dwayne Letterman, happy 4th of July, he says. Guys, I added the of July, but I knew what he meant. Sorry to speak for you, sir. Look at the trees. Look at the trees. Good to have you here. Look at the trees. What does your name mean? I'm curious, because I think of Predator when I think of Look at the Trees. I was carrying Benchmade Bone Collector Griptilian in D2. Very nice. White River Small Game in CPM Magna Cut. Front of the belt horizontal. I relate. And a Leatherman Wave Plus a Wingard Wearables Micro Dick Pick and Quill. This is good. Who was Steven? Steven, he's not with us today. He hasn't commented, but he asked me if I would trade my dick pic for, but I wanted to tell him, I know they release them frequently, and then lo and behold, they just released them again. So anyway, look at the trees. Good to have you here. Isaiah Pavlik, nice to have you here. What's up, Bob? Well, how you doing, Isaiah? Good to have you here. Happy 4th to you. He says happy 4th to everyone. Angry Tom says, I am really loving my Jack Wolf fixed blade. I too have been digging that. Where do you carry yours? Every time someone mentions something I have, I'm like, it's right here. I just saw it. Well, I'm curious, Angry Tom, where do you carry it? Are you a front pocket, back pocket? Or do you drop it in sans clip? OG Blade says, Viper knives are amazing, all caps. Check out the incredibly ergonomic pocket-sized Handy. That's right. That's the one that you just featured. This is a fixed blade, pocket-sized fixed blade called the Handy. But Dave, you have other ones, right? Like you have the Rhino, you have the Keeper, and you have some of the other more tactical folders too, don't you? Dion Page says, it's raining cats and dogs here, so no fireworks, but happy Independence Day here, everyone. Dion, I'm sorry to hear that. We had rain earlier today. Thought it would, the weak of heart fled the pool. Others like myself and stayed, and we had a beautiful day because it rained for about 20 minutes. Dion Page says, 4th of July, carry Recon 1 and Spike Bowie. Very nice. Spike Bowie. Will be, not me. I don't have any of Greg Medford's knives yet. I like the M48 though, and he's doing some cheaper knives here soon. I might want. Gotta say, Greg Medford, interesting dude. Interesting dude. He came on the show a couple of times early on, and he was like, he didn't give a shit about knives. That's what he said. I don't care about knives. I just seem to be good at designing them. And I think, that could have been some bravado, or there could have been truth in that. And who knows, maybe, people grow and people change, but I always thought that was a little curious. like because when the Praetorian came out, I thought it was an absolutely ridiculous design. I like them. I owned one, and I kind of wish I still had it for the museum, but it is a ridiculous knife, let's be honest. But there's something very cool about it in its ridiculosity. But to me, it showed it didn't. I don't know. Mixed feelings about Greg Medford. None of it about the political bullshit that he was wrapped up in. I know he talked a lot of smack and pissed a lot of people off. I don't care about that stuff. In terms of the blades, the knife designs, they all seem a little awkward. The Nosferatu is pretty sweet though, I gotta say. Anyway, Alex Castro, 1-2 punch for 1776 2024. Today used my James Helms Forge hand-forged Benghazi Warfighter. Ooh, I bet that's awesome. And Bush Sword. This combo can do anything. Also does mid-tech. That sounds awesome, Alex. Especially to have both. And Helm Forge, I know James Helm's work. I know of it, but now I can't conjure it up in my mind. But Bush Sword, you had me at Bush Sword. That sounds awesome. Angry Tom says, I carried my Wiener Warrior Kalashnikov today. Add my Wiener. Yeah, okay. Add my Wiener Warrior Zippo because Independence Day and hot dogs go together. I would say they do indeed, sir. I hope you had something with a point on it just in case you had to run someone through. That happens at barbecues. Will B says, it has always been full tie. Okay, my XM24. I just don't always mention it. That's what it must be. In my mind, it had like a black and blue G10 black and blue scale. Maybe you should get that. Sounds cool. The lights are difficult. Yes, lights are difficult. I know what you're talking about. To get American, it must be because, well, we all know why. And not too many people making them. Anyone interested in this? It's almost time. Well, it has been time. So #knife. Jim, let me see if Jim left me a comment. Only 37 entries, people. 37. I'm not so interested in CRKT, you say. Brian Ty's work doesn't interest me, you say. Well, you could always give this away as a gift. The shipping is free to you. And just place the purchase for your knife from your site, says Have a Knife Day. It works. Thank you, man. That is awesome. That is awesome. I'm very excited for you to have it. And I hope you, if you didn't put the number you want, we'll talk offline, or you can send me something. Awesome. Very excited. And thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I will tell Matt Chase that things are rolling. This could be any one of yours. #knife in 2 minutes. We're going to do this. Justin Musica. Nice to have you here, Justin. K-Bar TDI Investigator was in the mailbox this morning. Very nice. That's a cool knife. Pardon me. Nice pull carry. SOG Tellus folder. Harrier 2 serrated Warncliffe. I don't know which one that is. Harrier 2. But serrated Warncliffe, I mean, what's not to love? Rough Rider, Black Mule Bowie, awesome. Chopping limbs in the yard. That is such a great knife. And I still need to remount mine in some of the beautiful wood that Byron gave me last summer. Justin Musica said, been thinking of getting a cold steel cavalry saber for the mantle. All right, so I will tell you this. I know that they have tons of swords, and I know different makers make them. I know Windlass Cutlery does a lot of their stuff in India, and they're very good for what you're paying. I got my brother-in-law a few years back the light cavalry saber, the one that Napoleon's people carried, I think. And it has a sort of a single D guard that has a weird shape to it, or bows out kind of towards the back end, I think, so you can hold it way back there and swing it almost perpendicular to your, I mean, almost parallel to your forearm. Pretty cool. But it has a long sweeping blade with a wide, oh my God, the blade widens out at the end, and then it's double edged for the last 6 inches. That sword is awesome. So I think their sabers, I think they pay a lot of attention to the stuff. Now, I've heard a lot of stuff recently about people not being so psyched about Cold Steel's quality control or their customer service. Now, I've always heard their customer service is pretty lacking, but the fit and finish, the knives themselves have always been good, and I feel like have maintained through their sale to GSM. But I've just been hearing rumblings and stuff. However, you get one of those swords. I think that's kind of I think they make a lot of those and then they sell through them. I don't think it's something that's in such high demand that you're getting brand new GSM swords, so to speak. I'm not sure if that's true or not. That's just instinct. But Suave P says, my 4th of July carry was right front pocket, Dylan Fisher Deluxe Bowie. Very nice. Nice pocket fixed blade. Flashlight pocket had my favorite folder right now, a custom Tashi Barucha crook in the back pocket. Suave, you are indeed suave. That and my Jack Wolf Midnight fixed. Nice. Fixed EDC. But to me, the Tashi Barucha, he is so cool. He is a really cool dude. Like, as a person, just a cool guy. And then his designs are just, his knives are so cool. So very nice flex there on the Tashi. Isaiah says, rocking my ZT I'm sorry. Let me start that again. Rocking my ZT KG10 TS and Spartan Black Onyx. What is a ZT KG10 TS? Some sort of ZT. The reason I was saying Tashi's such a cool guy, very nice guy when I interviewed him. He's got some sort of kind of high-powered design job in the real world where I think he does quite well. And I just recently saw on Instagram that he went on a steak eating journey through New York City with his sons. And I was like, oh my God, I want to be one of his sons just for today. I'll go on a steak eating. I thought that was a really cool kind of bonding thing to do, is to go on a steak eating trip to New York. So cool. Lord Needham says, I forgot I subbed in the Usler neutralizer this afternoon for the Arius. Usler neutralizer. What is that, man? That sounds cool. It sounds like a dagger. Neutralizer. Angry Tom says, I watched the guy's video. He died and burned his sod buster. It turned out great. Oh, cool. It is fun to do. I've done that. Like my last slip joint phase, I dyed a Stockman, sort of purple. It turned out lavender. It looked pretty good. That was a beautiful GEC you have, said Bob's Pocket Knives. Thank you very much, sir. I have a special fondness for autumn bone, and this one is very nice. But I have a number 15 that is just beautiful. The dye bone job is just, I could stare at it for days. Something about it it's like a landscape painting to me. It's beautiful. Over the Pull, good to have you here. Over the Pull, happy 4th, US. Well, happy 4th to you, sir. Good to have you here. And we're about to give this knife away. Damn it, we're going to do it right now. Derek Poppenhagen, nice to have you here, Derek. Bob, I love that Agent 001. Such an awesome knife. Derek, thank you so much. I appreciate that. That really puts wind in my sails, hearing people compliment that knife. Of course, it would be nothing without Tim Kell. Obviously, Tim is such a great knife maker and a great designer and a great collaborator. What a cool person to work with. Very nice guy and just fun to chat with. And he knows his stuff. And if you're into firearms, boy, oh boy, does he know his stuff there. So Very great guy. And thanks for the compliments and the kind words on the Agent 001. All right, so let's do this, shall we? We're 15 minutes late, so that's perfectly on time in this household. I'm going to have agita. I'm going to lose it, trying to keep all these ladies on time. It's fighting an uphill battle, but I can do it. All right, let's do this. In 3, 2, and 1. 45 entries. Let's see who gets it. I will send this out to you possibly tomorrow. And some stickers. I'll put some stickers in there. Let's see. Sword XXXY. Good to be sending this to you. I'm very happy you won this, sir. Couldn't happen to a nicer fella. Even though I've never met you, I'm sure you are. I think this is a gathering of eagles here tonight, and I think you, sir, are one of them. I will have this carried to you by Eagle this very same night. Actually, not tonight, but probably tomorrow. Probably. I think work is going to be slow, so I will have time to take care of this. Sword XXXY, I need you to send me your mailing address. Send it to TheKnifeJunkie@gmail.com. Sword XXXY. Writing your name here on my way past its expiration date computer here, laptop. Angry Tom says, yes, it's the Boger Kalashnikov. I carried hot dogs today. I love it, Tom. I like it. It's like subverting our enemy from World War II, turning it into a hot dog, and then carrying it around in your pocket on this, our Independence Day. There's something very 4D chess about that. I like it. Paul Mills says, the only Medford I have right now is the DLT exclusive S90 V187. I do like the 187 a lot. But again, that's a big, clunky knife. I like it a lot. Don't get me wrong. But even the design is clunky. His designs are clunky. They are. They just are. Not the Nosferatu. That is kind of elegant and sleek. But Tomas, Tactical Tavern, happy 4th of July, brother. It's good to have you here, man. Got the Agent 001 on me. Awesome. I saw the Agent 007. Tactical Tavern, Mr. Tomas Alas has a version of the Agent coming out. We were talking sleek before. That is a sleek and beautiful Tanto, man. Very excited about that. Sorry, Tonto. Very excited about that, man. And excited to see you here and carrying your Agent 001. And the 002, I got to say, is super awesome. I will collect them all. How about you? Will B says, I actually find Greg Medford's honesty refreshing. It doesn't hurt that I agree with him on a lot of things. Yeah, I agree. I don't mind his honesty, and certainly don't disagree with him on a lot of stuff. I mean, then again, I don't know a lot about his views, but I'm a conservative guy, and I'm pretty sure he probably is too. But back to his designs. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, to each his own. The eye likes what the eye likes, and that's all you can say about that. Everyone to each his own with their designs and what they love. Have a knife day with a $5 super chat. I so appreciate that. Just purchased the Nova 2, and thank you, man. Sent you a message about numbering. I believe in supporting the community, especially the junkie community. Have a knife day. Thank you so much. Here, this is not your main salute, but thank you, my brother. I so appreciate that. This will fit lovely in your bulky and muscular hands. This guy, have a knife day. Met him in person, and he's he was I don't know how much you know about him, but he was in the service. I don't know how much I can tell you about what he did, but he was a paratrooper. I think I can say that, right? And a total badass, and it was great meeting him. And the man has baseballs inside his forearms. He doesn't work out that much. He had that surgery where they just kind of stick a tennis ball in there. Holy mackerel. This dude, anyway, I admired his forearms. I think it's good to have strong forearms, and I learned that from the great Leo Gahe, who at 90 years old, his arms looked like suspension cables from the Golden Gate Bridge, and felt like it too. I want to have that old man strength. So I'm already there on the old man part. Got to work on the strength. This is for you, sir. I'm going to salute you with this here, my beloved, loveless double-edge sub-hilt fighter made by the great and powerful Matt Chase, whose knife you just purchased. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. And here's this beauty with that stag and that old reclaimed cast iron from the Longfellow Bridge in Boston. There's some old black micarta there, and then 15N20 and 1095 blade steel in this beautiful pattern weld blade. This is for you, sir. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. Both the Nova 2 purchase and, of course, the super chat. All right. People putting wind in my sails. I appreciate that. Dwayne says, nice word, Bob. Ridiculosity. Yeah. I from time to time have made up words, and I used to have a Latin phrase totally made up. I would say, well, you know what they say, non cinquentum esquitellum, and people would be like, oh, well, yes, of course. And it doesn't mean anything, but it sounds Latin. Non cinquentum esquitellum sounds something sort of like, well, don't count your chickens before they're hatched, or, well, you shouldn't have been a dumbass, or whatever it is. It sounds lofty. So pull that one out when you need it. Or if you're in a meeting and they call on you and you haven't been paying attention, you can always, it doesn't matter what you're talking about. It does not matter what you're talking about. You can always pull out the old, well, I think it's all about striking the right balance. And people will say, well, you can't disagree with that. And then they'll be off talking, and then you're back to doing whatever you're doing. Listening to the Knife Junkie podcast. Striking the balance, guys. Angry Tom says, I had a heck of a time getting that lanyard in the Jackal Knives fixed blade. I actually cut myself, but I got it. Well, you got it. It was, where is mine? It was easy for me. It was easy. I don't mean to sound like a jerk, but I just took off the scale. I did it. You know what? I took the shortcut route. I just unscrewed the scale and took it off because I knew that with what I was putting on there, which is leather cord. Where the hell is my... which is a leather cord. I knew it wasn't going to make that turn at all. I just knew it. And I wasn't even sure if I could actually squeeze it that small, but I was able to. So I did have to disassemble the knife. But I'm sorry. I'm glad you got it through there. And I hope the cut wasn't too grievous because that blade is wickedly sharp. And yes, you can go through the leather sheath with that very, very sharp blade. Will B says, my XM24 is the Battle Bronze. Oh, and it came with the digital camo G10 scale. I thought it was yes. But they had the Battle Bronze tie scale available when I bought it. I got you. Oh, something just got in my eye. I'm not crying, guys. I'm not crying. I just love the fourth. Connell Wright, nice to have you here. Connell, hey, guys, first time on the live here. Well, it's good to have you here. Tell me what you were carrying if you're just getting here. I had this on me all day. I didn't find it adequate, but I didn't have too much to do. So this is what I was carrying. Ray Herman, nice to have you here, Ray. All-American carry today. I added the today. I shouldn't editorialize. Microtech Amphibian, probably my favorite knife of the last year. I absolutely love that knife. MSI, Stitch. Oh, okay. I sense a theme. Combat Troodon out and automatic Microtech. Wait, hold it. Combat Troodon out the front and automatic Microtech. What do you mean? Another automatic Microtech? First of all, I'm not sure what you mean there by that, but second of all, man, that is some luscious Microtech carry. Ray, I've been on a serious Microtech tear recently, and you're basically covering all the bases. I want a Combat Troodon. I want one of the new ones. I just got the Stitch, just got the Amphibian over the last year. MSI, I love that it exists, and I respect it, especially the full serrated version. It's just not for me, but I love it. You know, I love that it's there for all you who love it. But I get nervous when there's not a point that you can't like stick into something. Not that I find myself doing that frequently, but for some reason, that's just a non-starter for me these days. Dion Page says, my fiance is ordering a Nova 2 for me tomorrow morning for my birthday, King Junkie. Dion Page. Dion, she's a keeper, Dion. She's a keeper. And I know you already knew that, and it's not about the Nova 2, but it's kind of about the Nova 2. It's not, but this is just a good illustration. She's a keeper. You listen to me, lady. You listen to me. I like that, man. Davy Jones, nice to have you here, Davy. Made it in the USA. Made in the USA currently is not a selling point for me. Hey, I get it. It depends on what you're into. Like, if you're super into, and I am from time to time, but my current fascination of the day frequently changes with the wind. But Davey, when I want this, when I want that sort of, or when I want this sort of luxury folder with contoured titanium and all that kind of stuff, I don't reach for American knives. I mean, I have some great American knives, but they don't have some of the qualities that I can get in a Chinese knife that I couldn't find maybe in a USA knife, or couldn't afford. So I hear you. I think that if Davey, perhaps, and maybe not, but if you were really into fixed blade knives, and I don't know what you're into, but that might be where you might be more like, I'm going to lean American on the fixed blade knives. I don't know, maybe not. I know a lot of people like the Lion Steel outdoors knives, right? And of course, everyone loves Moras and other things like that. But I think USA might have it on the fixed blades. I don't know. What do you think, Davey? Let me know. I like your logo too. Davy Jones. Is that like Davy Jones? LOL. That stuff is coming from fanboys of other brands, I think. People who have already overpaid for a ton of knives. Yeah, maybe some. Like, for me, I know I've overpaid. I mean, I've never paid more for what was asking price for a knife that was like in the craze phase. I've always been somewhat responsible, but I've spent a lot more money on knives, like way more than I need or could possibly ever use. But that's a collector thing. It was hard for me to admit at some point that I'm a collector, because I always thought collectors were kind of weird. And then I realized, well, this is a collection. Like, I've got a lot of knives, and I have them for a very particular reason, like just to appreciate, as if I'm a collector of a museum, a curator of a museum, and I'm taking care of a collection for someone. Well, that collection is my collection. I'm the weirdo who's got the collection, who spent all the money and finagled and got all the stuff. Now I'm getting off track, but yeah, I know what you mean. There might be some people who defend this knife, for instance, the Les George VSEP, because it cost them a lot of money. That could be, but if they actually have it in hand, they're probably defending it because it's a really amazing knife. There might also be some like, and I paid $350 for it, and at the time I didn't have the money, and I had to sell something else to get it, and I feel ridiculous about it. There might be some of that. I wouldn't doubt it, because I recognize that in myself with some of my purchases. Not so much anymore. I've become more responsible in my collecting, but a lot of my collection is here due to irresponsibility, to be 100% honest. So yeah, I guess responsibility is the goal. Isaiah says, I've heard that too, that cold steel is trash, but I've never had a problem. Me too. 100% emoji. What does my daughter say? 100% or 100 emoji. Just talk to me in words, child. I have not had a problem yet either. I don't know. I've heard quality control issues on the what's the big giant folder that I always say looks like a cartoon giant folder? It's kind of ham-fisted. The new one. I don't have that one. I would like to have it, but I don't want to go get it. And I can't even remember the name of it now. But that big swashbuckler that they have, the big one with the Atlas lock, their only large one with the Atlas lock. What the hell is that called? Anyway, I've heard of problems with that. I think that was Donnie B. All Day was talking about it. He just put out a video. He's like, he's done with cold steel. I can never say that. But moving forward, I don't see myself buying a lot of them. I haven't bought a lot of Cold Steels, new ones, but there are some old ones from the back catalog I'd like to get. Pens and pen blades. Good to have you here, sir. Hello, everyone. Can't stay, but wanted to wish you all a happy rest of your 4th of July. Well, happy 4th of July to you, my good man, and enjoy those pens and pen blades and your freedoms. Derek Poppenhagen says TKL Piranha and Combatant for the 4th carry. Derek, we are of like mind, sir. Right here. I have my Combatant. Forgot about it, actually, until you mentioned it. This is such a great knife. The Combatant. I'm going to put this under the knife cam. So, as you know, I do a pocket check. I take everything off of me that I've been carrying and put it here. And I have to put something else on me, because if I had to rush out of this room in a hurry, I'd hate to leave this room full of knives and not actually have one on me. So this is what I put on me, the Combatant. There are some very cool variations of this coming out. Well, there's a new blade, newer than this one. It's a drop point, more of a swedge, lower tip, very nice looking, a little pointier. Wouldn't mind getting that. But there's a Warncliffe that's in prototype phase right now of this. That is so awesome. I'm very excited about that. So great carry. I compliment you on your carry. Craig Vincent says, Bob, I haven't gotten any new knives this week. I know, shocker. But my 1x30 grinder arrived. Awesome. 1x30 got a little, sorry, you don't need to know that. 1x30 belt grinder arrived, and I'm just about finishing tooling up so I can put my hand at making one. Well, man, I cannot wait to hear how that goes. If you're handy, I think, for me, the couple of times I've done it, it is like sculpture. It's like getting in the mode of sculpting something where you're removing stuff that's not the thing you're trying to make. I guess that sounds obvious. That's kind of a ridiculous comment to make, but I remember snapping into a certain mindset that I had not been in quite some time. Isaiah says, 0 tolerance. I got the black G10. Oh, with the tiger stripes. Got it about 4 months ago. That's one of the 300 series, right? And the tiger stripes, that's the that, and part of the handle is the Strider part of that collaboration. That was the Strider and Ken Onion collaboration. And you can see the Striderness in those tiger stripes and in the jimping and sort of the heel of the pommel. I always feel weird calling the tail end of a folder a pommel, but that is the pommel. That fellow there says, Davy Jones, I made the shift to an all USA made collection. It's been fun the past couple of years, but I still do like the offerings from Cold Steel and CRKT. Yeah, and some of the companies like Cold Steel or Spyderco, Cold Steel only makes a very, very few knives in the States. I think maybe only one. I think that New Republic they're making here. My favorite brand is Cold Steel, though. Oh God, Davey, you're preaching to the choir, sir. Yeah, I love Cold Steel. I really, really like Lynn Thompson, and the couple of times I've talked to him have been I haven't been starstruck like, but I've been like very consciously aware to soak up as much as I could and ask as many questions and don't rush the conversation and let people talk. And he's one of those guys that you can just let talk, and it's fascinating. And then when this is just a good rule of thumb, period, for anyone in any conversation. When there's a silence, never feel like you got to rush in and kill the silence, because when you do, you end up saying something that doesn't need to be said. A, and B, that other person might be ready to say something, or that other person might be ready to rush in and fill the silence, and they might have something revealing to say, something valuable for you to know. I don't know how I got there. But Lynn Thompson, yeah, he's one of those guys that you just let talk. And then if you want to know something, you interject when there's a moment and steer the conversation that way. I'm really interested in your thoughts about karambits. Boom. There we go. Now karambits for 20 minutes. Oh, yeah? Oh, how do you feel about I love the Bowie. Oh, now we're going to talk. And then they produce all the content. It's great. I mean, that's what you want out of an interview. When people tune into the Knife Junkie interview, they're not there to listen to me do what I'm doing right now, which is blab. They're here to listen to that guy, Lynn Thompson blab, or whomever. Doug Bowl says, Bob, back in 2000, I bought a windlass Scottish broadsword. Great quality. I've always wanted one of those. Are you talking about a basket hilt with the red velvet inside? So kind to your hand as you're out slaughtering people, cutting through the battlefield. But inside, your hand is pampered in this nice velvet jacket. It's so nice. I love that contrast. Mark Stallman, nice to see you here, Mark. God bless America. Indeed, God bless America. Favorite American-made knife? The Case Trapper. Oh, dude, a perennial favorite. I don't have one here with me, but that's one of the knives that I always compare other slip joints to. When I do a slip joint review, I'll show it off as a size comparison and just comparison with common knives. That knife, the Case Trapper, which is ubiquitous and awesome, and then a 91-inch or 91 millimeter Victorinox. To me, those are two of the most quintessential slip joints. Seth Lang, nice to have you here. Seth, non-existent Latin versus authentic frontier gibberish. Yes, non-existent Latin. Non sequentum esquitellum. That is what they say. Davy Jones says, LOL, just memorized some real Latin. Yeah, I know. I got that too. Because, well, the reason I made up the fake Latin was my dad used to, I remember once I learned caveat emptor, let the buyer beware, when after a day of working in the yard, the whole family worked. We had a lawn with a bunch of trees, and we always had to rake and after a long day of raking and stuff, we go to McDonald's and I run in and I do the order and I get the order and I come home and it's like my hamburger is missing. My whole order is missing. Everyone has their food. And I'm like, oh, and my dad's like, caveat emptor. And I'm like, what the hell is that supposed to mean? He says, let the buyer beware. You didn't check the bag? What, you trust the guys at McDonald's? What's the matter with you? I'm like, oh. So yeah. Wait. And Reus ipsa loquitur, I always like. The thing speaks for itself. Like if someone's being a dumbass, you don't have to point it out because Reus ipsa loquitur. Davy Jones says, I got so frustrated with my shitty sharpening skills, I turned to carrying a replaceable blade knife. Davy Jones. Well, I mean, I know that there are a couple of really cool replaceable knives, but sharpening is something that you should still stick with. And maybe you just don't have the right implement. I like to recommend the Spyderco Sharp Maker because it keeps you half it's half by hand and then half because it sets the stones at the right angle. As long as you're capable enough to keep the blade at a 90-degree angle, you can put a nice edge on your knives or keep them maintained. And the reason I like that too is because you start to see how it works, and then you can actually take the stones off and do it without, and it's a good way to get into it. And I think that if you're here, you probably also like knives that have permanently fixed blades or folding blades. So yeah, do that. I think you'll like it too. It's a great way to spend quality time with the knives. Ray Herman, if I haven't greeted you, Ray, it's nice to have you here, especially because you're mentioning one of my favorites. The SOCOM Elite had a brain fart. I'm not sure what you mean. It's probably something I said before. But let me show you my SOCOM Elite, one of my favorites right here. Ray, are you a fan? Or did I say something? I don't know. I probably did about this knife before, but this was just on vacation duty. What's the website for the Nova 2? You can go to store.theknifejunkie.com. Store.theknifejunkie.com. I like that. Thank you, Jim. Order your Nova 2. Order it now. I got to say, let me talk about the knife a little. If you guys are going over there, I just want to remind you that these are handmade in Massachusetts by Matt Chase. A sheet of 154 cm is water jetted to release these blanks from what was once a sheet of steel, and then from then on, these are totally handmade. The bevels are hand ground. It's all heat treated in shop, and everything is done by hand sharpened. And this thing is wickedly sharp, wickedly sharp. Yeah, feels great in forward grip like this. Feels really nice in reverse grip. It's doable in the Pikal style grip if you had to, because the only thing you'll feel is this down here, but it's not even bad. And it has an upward reaching blade like a Kiridashi. So if you do have to reverse it, you'll have a good presentation of the point and edge for that back fist. So, yep. And so this is going to be only in this ivory and red G10, just like the Nova 1 was in the maroon, polished maroon micarta with the green liners. This is in the polished ivory G10 in the red. And that's what makes it special. They are numbered, and this is the only configuration that it comes in. So. Oh my God. I am so dry. I'm just sitting here going off at the mouth while you patiently listen, waiting to harvest gems and jewels from the words that come from my mouth. But really, all I have to talk about are these. Speaking of Indonesia, Benchmade, although Indonesian think American manufacturers. Wait. Kyle says, Kyle, first of all, how you doing, man? Good to be here. Good to have you with us, I should say. Benchmade, although Indonesia thinks it's American manufacturing. Wait, what are you saying here? Oh, although no, it is made here. I think Benchmades are all. I think they make them all here, don't they? CRKT M21 SFG. That is a nice knife. I have one that my brother-in-law gave me that he got at his PX when he was in the Marines. Kyle says Microtech. Yes, Microtech indeed. I can't disagree with you on that. Kyle says, how many of you let's see. How many of you have even owned an American knife? I mean, dang. I prefer German cutlery typically, especially in the kitchen, but I can throw a rock and hit a badass American knife company. Yeah, okay. All right. Keep this one up here for a second so I can, as the podcasters like to say, unpack this. So German cutlery, we have Wusthof Trident, a nice big chef's knife, Wusthof Trident, and then we have a couple of the Henkels. I'm not crazy about the Henkels. The Trident I like well enough, but once I started getting thinner chef's knives, like actually the one that really the Vosteed, the company, sent me a knife called the Morgan, and it's a chef's knife, and it's super thin. It's VG10, and it looks a little funny. And I was like, well, thanks for sending this. I didn't ask for it, but thanks. And I started cutting with it, and I'm like, ooh, this is very thin. It's cutting differently than, say, my Trident, which I would like chop a chicken in half with without blinking an eyeball. And then I went from there and got a Steve Kalari custom knife, and that is super thin, and that's an American-made knife. So, okay. Germans, yes, they make awesome cutlery, whether it's kitchen cutlery or not. But I would say that the Americans have definitely kept up, if not surpassed, in numerous different ways. Though the Germans have the history. Now, you're saying to this crowd here, do any of you actually have American knives? I know for a fact that a lot of us do. So I'm curious about that part of your question, Kyle. Let me know what you meant by that. Todd Carr says, I've never had any problems with my cold steel knives, but I've never had to deal with their customer service. Neither have I. And I own many of them. Yeah, I haven't had, I've only sent back 2 cold steel knives, but I was the problem. It's me. It's not you. It's me. So I had to break up with those knives, but it was me. It was not them. I just didn't like the way they were too bulky. The first one, I can't remember what they're called now. Both of them folders, though. Isaiah says, I believe that's the Espada. Yeah, I saw Donnie's video too. No, it wasn't the Espada. I saw Donnie's video too. All we can say is when we come to that bridge, we'll cross it. Absolutely. It's the not the mayhem. What the hell do they call it? The big choppy one with the big swoopy blade. I think it's kind of ham-fisted in design. I think he mentioned he had trouble with one of his espadas, though. Also, you're right. But the one he kept holding up was that one, the Havoc or the Mayhem or whatever the fuck. I don't know. Isaiah says, "Have I found the American knife thing is mostly in new knife collectors? It's mostly a dick measuring contest." I respectfully disagree, Isaiah. I think maybe new knife collectors are going through that, but I think it's old knife collectors who tend that way the most, because there was a premium for a while put on American-made custom knives, and then the mid-tech thing happened, and then the OEM thing happened in China. So before China's OEMs were available to people, it was mid-tech, and before mid-tech, meaning people like Les George, for instance, having the parts cut out elsewhere and then doing all the assembly and finishing and sharpening and beveling stuff in-house. And then before that, it was just custom. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that the Chinese knives have not always been good. So American knives were the pinnacle and were the things that people were aspiring to 10 years ago. Before Riyadh, my God, got serious cottonmouth here. Before Jim Skelton introduced Riyadh. I mean, to me, like, I'd never heard of Riyadh before Jim Skelton did his video on the Horizon C. And that's when I bought one. I was like, oh my God, who is this company? And they had like 2 knives, and that was about 10 years ago. And back then, the best made knives, folders, were American made knives. So I think maybe the new guys, yes, and maybe the old guys, yes. I think people now expect or want a wider variety of things. Like, to some people, this kind of action, this drop shut action, is super important. Well, they were doing that in 2012, 12, 13 years ago at Microtech without any fanfare. They had ball bearings in their pivots, and it wasn't like a big deal. And I don't know of anyone else who was doing that then. But now people kind of expect certain things, and with folders, oftentimes they want that. That is a good. That is like a. Oh, Stephen, good to see you here, Stephen. Just got to let you know that I'm interrupting myself to let you know that Wingard Wearables just did a release of dick pics and dick pic micro dick pics. So I know you were asking about one of those. Go check it out. I cannot get rid of mine. It was a gift, and I wouldn't get rid of it anyway because it's awesome. But go check them out, Stephen. And good evening to you, sir. Yeah, but that's an interesting point, Isaiah, that you mentioned about new makers and young makers, and the landscape has changed. The landscape has changed, but I guess it's always changing. Mark Stallman says, cold steel knives always meet or exceed my expectations. Was not abusive or kind to them. Still like them. Yeah, me too. And I like their tie to history. I like the fact that they are the only people who make so many of these different knives and swords from history that we can own here today that are battle ready. Not that we need them battle ready. Hopefully we never need a battle ready sword. Hopefully, but just the fact that they're there and that they exist, I love that. Kyle says, I like all kinds of blades. I do too. Oakashot typology stuff to kitchen knives. What is that? That sounds interesting. Oakashot typology stuff to kitchen knives, but all the American companies hate is unwarranted. All the American company hate is unwarranted. What do you mean by that? American company hate. I feel like there's a lot of hate towards Chinese companies, but it's not because people hate the knives. It's more like, I kind of wish that our American market could support that. But we all know the kind of compromises we would have to make to do that. And hopefully that changes. I feel like that's slowly changing, as I know some people are starting to like River's Edge Cutlery is starting to manufacture other other American companies are OEMing for other American designers. That's also exciting. So I feel like slowly, I mean, if you're American, you should probably want as much American business happening in America as possible. But at the same time, you also want the ability to get French wine and get Chinese made knives and get French cheese, or why am I saying wine and cheese? I must be getting hungry, but you know what I'm saying. Your salmon from Sweden, like we all do, flown in daily. These are the kind of things we want and that we expect. And so nothing against foreign made knives. For me, that's one of the few places I'm like, I'm kind of I'm interested in all comers. So Cold Steel USA production is very small, with only a couple being made and a few limited edition ones. But Taiwan quality is great, and they do a great job on heat treats. They do indeed. So no complaints there. Yeah, for years they had the best OS 8 out there. So basically, their heat treat of what was considered quite substandard Japanese steel, that heat treat was making them really, really tough and robust. Kyle says Almar eventually went to Japan, but American designs. Yes, and Almar's knives, I guess I didn't even know they were made in the States, but because I was tuning into Almar. How did I even know about Almar? Because this is when I was in like high school, middle school. I must have been getting catalogs that had, I know I got catalogs that had Almar knives, but they were way out of my league expense-wise, and I didn't know where they were being made there. Oh, man, I'd love to get an Almar, like an original Almar, a Japanese-made one. Davy Jones, Japan is a good country for blades. Who was it? Edwin of Callow Blades. Man, he's got such a sweet collection, obviously, of Emerson's, but he has a lot of great other stuff. And he had a Mac V Sog, Almar Mac V Sog. That was chef's kiss, beautiful. The number I'd like is 82nd for my airborne unit, says Have a Knife Day. Another $2. Thank you, sir. Thank you very, very, very much. All right, we will see to that for sure. Now, I'm going to go new school on you this time, and I'm going to salute you with this here, this Dirk Pinkerton. This is I want to call it the Razorback, but it's not called the Razorback. What is this? I know Dave has one. Dave, what is this called? Oh, help me. Razor. It's not the Razorback, is it? Anyway, this is a beautiful hand-ground Dirk Pinkerton. A lot of you know the name Dirk Pinkerton because he designs a lot of really cool folders that get made by Kaiser and Concept and a lot of these great companies we were just talking about that we all love. But he's also not only an incredible designer, but incredible handmade knife maker, a grinder. And this is one that I bought from him a few years back now. Super sharp on the top and the bottom, inspired by two very different knives. The Hell's Bells Bowie, fighting Bowie, designed by Bill Bagwell, very famous Bowie knife maker and combatives dude, and also the Khanjar from the Middle East, a curved double-edged knife. And this thing is so awesome. Have a Knife Day. I think you would love a knife like this, or love this knife. So I will salute you with this tasty double-edged L-Max. Wait, is this L-Max? I think this is, L-Max blade. See? L-Max. All right, here you go, sir. Thank you so much. Here's to you, sir. And we will make sure that number gets on there. And if it's only 27, we'll figure out which number you're replacing. It'll be 82nd out of 20, 82 out of 27. That would be a collector's item indeed. Gus Beck, yo, sorry I'm late. So am I, sir. You're here the last 5 minutes. But hey, man, it's all good. Next time, though, you come on time. I got two of these today. I got this one in my swimsuit at the pool and this one at the desk when I come home. Gus Beck says, I had the Chris Reeve large Sebenza 31 with black micarta inlay. Oh, very nice. I have my 21 with black micarta inlay out tonight. What a great knife. A GEC coon skinner and a Leatherman Skeletool. What's this coon skinner? Is that kind of like a small version of a moose knife with like same size blade, same shape blade, just coming out of two different ends? Isn't the coon skinner like that, but a small version? Help with gadgets. Check out American Blade Works. Great knives, great materials, great prices. I got two of them right here. Here's the Model 2, which I love a lot. And then here's the new slip joint, and they go nicely together. A beautiful pair. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Help with gadgets. That's a great suggestion. I should have mentioned it more when I brought this out here. Great American knife company, a one-man band, and just killing it out of North Carolina. A lot of knives being made in North Carolina. Great knife state. Kyle says Solingen stamp, Wusthof, and Zwilling J.A. Henkels. Right. Okay. Any bayonets with that Solingen stamp is worth a buku bucks. Oh, how cool. Because they were pressed into action during World War II, I guess, especially the M4. Also, they say a bunch of Ulfbert sword hilts have cobalt. So those are those very, very special Viking swords that were like very few of them made, and they were found, a lot of them found in riverbeds, but they were like 1,000 times better than like the rest of every other this something like this. They were really, really outstanding swords, like way beyond the technology of the time, those Ulfbert, I think. And so they had cobalt in them. That's interesting. Yeah, because everything about them seemed to outlast other swords. They didn't shatter like so many other swords. And I'm getting this right? TKL Knives for fixed blades, says Stephen Clayton. Stephen, couldn't agree with you more, sir. I hope you go check out that dick pic drop. Will be Bob. Didn't you have an issue with Cold Steel Taipan or another dagger? Yep, I got one Taipan from Amazon. So this has happened before, where I've gotten, I think maybe they send their bunk knives to Amazon, because I've gotten two quality control issue knives. Yeah, you're right, from Amazon. One was the Taipan where the grind was just off. A dagger grind, you can see when it's off immediately. Then the other thing, what was the other thing? Something else. You're right, it was a quality issue, and I sent it back, and then it was replaced, and it was fine. But I never dealt with Cold Steel. It was always with the retailer, which in this case was Amazon. Doug Bull says, Bob, Sog Seki Japan knives are some of the best knives ever made. Agreed. I have one. I have the Sog Super Bowie, and that's a Seki made. And that thing's awesome. I love that knife. And I love all those old Sogs with the stacked leather handles and the combat designs. Oh, they're so cool. Those old Nut and Fancy videos, he had all those knives, man. Kyle, Randall Made Knives make some great looking knives, but I only ever used one, and it was that tool steel that was sold and it was sold 2 days later for like 1G, and it was early 2000s, probably worth 3 now. Yep. They're, man, the prices have just keep going up. America's buying habits have greatly bolstered the Chinese knife market and capabilities, much to the detriment of the American maker market. Great way to wrap this up. Craig Vincent, I've been collecting less than 2 years. I own more than 100 Cold Steels. Haven't had a problem with a single knife. Love to hear that. All right, guys. I think that's it for this evening here. Stephen Clayton says, I got my order in with Wingard Wearables. Thank you. Awesome. Glad to hear it, man. Just tell them Bob sent you. No, you don't get a discount with Wingard Wearables, but you can tell them. All righty, guys. Thanks for joining us. I want to say happy 4th of July. Enjoy your freedoms if you're living here in the United States, and wherever you're living, enjoy what freedom you have. And man, I hope that means you get to enjoy this hobby to the fullest extent. All right. Thanks for joining us again. Be sure to join us on Thursday or on Wednesday for the midweek supplemental. And I'm interviewing a very special guest for this Sunday's show. I'm very excited. So check that out. All right. For Jim working his magic behind the switcher, I'm Bob DeMarco saying until next time, happy 4th of July, and don't take dull for an answer.